Well, let's look at some different areas of the country, and
That wasn't even really at that point. That wasn't even part of it.
but you didn't start Velocity Banking until you got here, right?
No, we started Velocity Banking before we got here.
Okay, so what Velocity Banking is for people who don't know, now correct me if I'm wrong. What you did is you took your first mortgage and then you opened up a credit line. You paid off your first lien on the first mortgage with a credit line and had a credit line as your mortgage now.
It's called the first lien HELOC.
The first lien HELOC, a home equity line of credit.
Correct.
And then now we've switched gears to really speed this up, is because we've learned about how interest works, and mortgage interest is heavy. Okay, it's a heavy weight. You may not think it, but it's massive. Okay?
And there's some thought to like people out there like it doesn't matter. I beg to differ.
We saved a lot of money by paying
lot
it
of
off
money.
faster.
Yeah. When you sign your note and you look at this, you look at the interest over the life of the loan. It's not always, but it's a lot of time twice the house.
It's extremely expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, most buy a $200,000 house and your interest is $1 million. That's, that might be an exaggeration, but however, it's on the level of it's on that.
Yeah, it's on that scale.
And so what you did is you learn this interest, you learn this thing called Velocity Banking by doing a first lien HELOC. And so the activities of your life changed, because now we went from no credit, now we have credit, and now we're using credit to crush our mortgage interest so we can attack more principal.
Correct.
And then
Attack everything.
Right, attack everything. So now that you do this Velocity Banking, so remind me what it is. It's basically paying all the bills through the HELOC, all the living expenses, everything goes in, but however, all the income goes.
Correct. So, I don't, Corinne. I'm gonna let Corinne explain this, because once I got her now onto this, then she saw it also. Because again, I went from all cash to now I'm telling her we need to switch again. So I'll let her go.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that a heavy lift for you to
It was,
grasp that?
but we had already signed on with our coach, which was huge. Like
Okay.
we knew that we were working together and we were doing the things we needed to do, but we knew that our limits, we met our limits.
Right.
We now
Especially
needed
knowledge, right? Yeah.
Yes, and we needed someone who has been through more ways of doing this besides Dave Ramsey, someone who can open the options up for us.
Okay.
To see how can we do this, how can we accelerate this. We want to do it. We're all in. We've proven that we're disciplined. Now we need someone to hold us accountable besides just me and him. So we hired our coach, Denzel Rodriguez, a huge blessing.
Okay.
And the way that he presented it to us and the way that he got me on board was showing me the case studies of how it actually works. You can tell me the process, you can tell me the technique and how it's going to work, but I don't see it until I literally see it.
That's
Okay.
that's the difference between me and her.
Yeah, I need to see
could
it.
I could see the process, and if I understand the process, I don't need to necessarily see numbers, because I know that if I
Right.
understand the process, I'm a process guy.
Okay.
She's more deep
Give me
down
the
into
process.
the
I'm
weeds.
still a skeptic. I
Right,
need to
yeah,
see
sure,
it.
right.
So please explain. And I would watch case study after case study. So
love
now
that,
we
love
have
that.
Denzel in our
Yeah.
corner. And now
Okay.
I'm like, now we're feeling really revved up and we're confident and I'm ready to go. We did this. We did all this. So now we can do this.
Yeah, $200,000. Like what?
No big deal.
8
We can
months.
do this. Right. And we had at the time maybe a little under 300 of our mortgage left over.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we took
So
out
in
390
total, we're
yeah.
we're
That's right.
talking well, actually we're talking more because of the other house, but in my imagination, that's $500,000 now.
Yeah, total.
Oh yeah, within about a 2-year span.
Yeah.
Because we did the 9 months, and then the rest we were at around 380, 370, and then we were around now 290,
something, yeah.
295.
So now we sign
Somewhere
up
in
with
there.
our coach. So now Denzel is helping us through it. He explains Velocity Banking. We're all in. We get this HELOC,
Okay.
which gives us about 90% of our equity in our
I think
home,
at the time, yeah, it was either 80 or 90, somewhere
which
around
we
there.
over the years had built up because we had
Sure.
already been throwing extra money towards our mortgage. Plus, we did put 20% down to avoid private mortgage
Right,
insurance
yep.
in the beginning.
Okay.
So we already had a bunch of equity in the home. So we took out that first lien HELOC, which allowed our checking and our HELOC balance to be all connected.
Right.
So now at the time, I'm getting paid this Friday, he's getting paid next Friday, I'm getting paid the following Friday. So every time that money went into that checking account at midnight every day, it would sweep into the HELOC. And now if there was $4,000 to be thrown in there, it went directly to the loan. That now satisfied the interest payment that we needed to satisfy for that month. We're done for the month.
Plus
Right.
any principal
And
now
now,
left.
right, and now we're
That's all
chopping
you have
away
in
at
the
the
principal.
principal. We're chunking at it. And now, as everything goes in, our interest goes down for that month. So
Right.
you want to keep the money in there because every time you remove money from there, if there's a bill paid out of the checking and it has to sweep in the opposite direction,
Right.
you're now affecting that interest against you. So we want to keep as much money as we can in there, which is like the incentive to keep it going.
Okay.
And then that's where the credit cards come in. Let's put everything on the credit card. Let the money stay in the HELOC. Let's pay less interest, and all of that interest that we're getting cash
So
back.
it's more than one step.
Oh, yeah.
It's the
Simultaneous.
It's a multifaceted approach. So the HELOC,
Wow, okay.
the HELOC allows you to extend your extremely large amount of line of credit.
okay.
Okay, while now obtaining the deed to your home.
Right.
So now, what happens is, in order to keep all the money in the account to lower the amount of interest payment that you owe, you float money with a credit card. And you float money with the credit card on a card that allows you to have the maximum amount of cash back.
Right.
So now I'll use that cash back money on expenses that we already would have spent on.
Right.
We're
Okay.
not changing our spending
We
habits.
still stuck to our budget.
You
Right.
still stick to a budget. Okay, that's a very important part. This
Yeah,
isn't-
because you don't want to go right,
because
right
you can,
back up.
You can really derail this,
Yeah.
because now you've got all this money available to
Wow.
you. No, you got to still stay disciplined, and you have to continue to stay within your budgets. But now you take that cash back, and it'll essentially offset or minimize the amount of interest that you've owed on the main HELOC. So I gave the example in the last podcast. Let's say it was $700 worth of interest, and I was getting $300 back in cash
wow,
back.
okay.
I offset the amount of interest I owed or paid by $300, right? So I now only paid $400 in interest as opposed to the $700 because I utilized the cash back that I got on expenses I've already would have spent money on.
Right.
Nothing extra. If there was, fine, but it's generally the same amount.
Right.
And then I just divvied that in. And now, every month that goes by, my amount owed is less. Why? Because I'm still having positive cash flow at the end of the month going into the account, and now the interest owed is less and less and less.
Right.
So now there gets to a point where there's equilibrium, let's say, of cash back value that I'm getting back from the credit card now equals the same amount of interest. So now I'm canceling it out, and then if I continue to go, guess what? I'm now not paying any interest because now my cash back is not only satisfying the interest payment, but it's extra.
Wow.
So you can get to a point.
I didn't
where
know
you're-
that.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that's how it plays out. So you can get to a point where you're no longer paying any interest on your outstanding principal HELOC.
Wow.
That's the value and the power of it. And it now speeds up even faster because now you know you're no longer paying any interest on that loan. Everything that you're hitting is now going debt. And now it's all boom, boom, boom,
Okay.
boom.
All right. So for those
That's a lot. That's a lot there.
But that's massive. That's now let me bring into perspective. All right. So if you look at your mortgage bill right now, say you have a regular mortgage. For those who are watching, look at your mortgage bill right now. If you're within 7 years of the start date, look at what's actually going to principal. If you have a $2,000 house payment, $4,000 house payment, whatever it is, say $3,500 of that is going to interest.
And it depends on the interest rate. 'Cause
Sure.
Certain
Yeah.
people may have better interest rates with the traditional.
Right?
Okay. We did it because we wanted the speed of getting everything off.
Right.
We actually took a little bit of a hit on interest, but we knew that time-wise, we were going to be able to attack that faster and ultimately pay less.
What would you say to the person that has 3% interest, but they have all this equity?
We have to take a look. It
We
depends on
went-
what your goals are.
I remember what it was. We went from a 3.125 interest rate
Really?
for
Oh
our mortgage
my
to a
gosh.
5.99 with the HELOC. And at
Yeah,
first I
and
was
now
like,
the HELOC's rates are up now.
And
Right,
but
right.
you guys all understand it's two different types of interest as well.
Right.
One
Sure.
is an amortized, one is a simple.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there's differences there in
Okay.
in the amount of interest. And like you said, an amortized is a schedule.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a scheduled type of payment. So the interest is divvied up along the length of the loan, right? The length of the mortgage. With the simple
But it's
interest,
front-end loaded, though. That's the
It is,
problem.
it
That's
is.
the problem with the mortgage, yeah.
but the thing is that with the simple interest, it's a daily occurring.
Okay.
That's why keeping all the income in the account longer
You're
is more
offsetting that
beneficial.
interest
Exactly.
a lot better, yeah. A lot
Exactly.
faster.
and even
Okay.
going up more than 2%, we still attack that mortgage so much faster.
Yes.
Right.
Changing
That's the point.
at nothing about what we were doing with budgeting and all the things. It was the same exact thing that we were on. We just all of a sudden went from, okay, we're doing this, to, wow, we are doing this. And we didn't change anything.
So to recap, so I know you guys got prior commitments, and we start with a clarity call.
Yep.
All right, clarity call. We do a survey, and then the next call is we're going to talk about your score in the scoring system of. It's not anything against you or against the person. It's just how well are you aligned to what you really want or after.
Right. How do you align with your
if-
beliefs?
Yeah, like if you could wave a magic wand
That's it.
and you could be there today, how far are you away from that?
Right.
You got to know where you are, right, to know how to get there, right?
You have to know what. First of all, you have to know what it is you value,
Right.
what it is you believe. Once we figure that out, you got clarity, right?
Yeah.
So now we know what it is. Now you got to kind of say, okay, this is where I am based on that.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, like you said, it's neither good nor bad. It's just now you know where it is you are. Okay. From there, we now start to ask, well, now that you see this, what is it that you want to tackle first? Like, well, how does that make you feel? Where is it? What is sticking out to you? Once we have a clear idea of what that impact is on you, and whether you now want us to be the ones that can help you align better and get more in alignment with your finances, then we go from there and talking about, okay, well, let's start working together.
Okay.
And that's where all that comes into play.
Okay.
And it's not just finances. It could be security. And security with life insurance, because there are people that may be great with income but have no security for legacy, and that's something that I always have a big thing with, because of what happened with my father, and even with my wife. We both lost our fathers young. Corinne lost her father when she was 14.
Wow.
I lost my
Okay.
father late 20s, but the impact of not having like security, like life insurance and things like that, things that I thought was basic,
Right.
not a lot of people are aware of, and the struggle within the family that resulted because of not having something like that is really impactful, and I don't ever want that to happen again. So that's one of my main facets when I talk to people, and one of the main strategies that we have. Like, if you don't have this, or if you have one, let's review it, because I want to make sure that at least we have that security blanket for you.
It's the ultimate emergency fund, because if everyone needs life insurance, baseline, bam. If you get married, if you have someone depending on you, or if you want to contribute to someone else's life, or they're going to be affected by your passing, if
You would
you're,
be surprised on how many people don't have that.
and we are not guaranteed tomorrow.
Nope.
Right.
We're not guaranteed tomorrow. We have no idea what's going to happen. And the worst thing that we could do, just looking at it from my shoes, is if I were to leave this earth, where would my wife be? Where would my kids be?
Right.
What would happen? Where'd my mother be? There's things. Some of us take care of other people. And
Exactly.
So
That's why when we start working together, it's like, okay, what is your situation? Where
Right.
are you right now? Because what you did in the past doesn't necessarily matter anymore. It's this moment forward.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is that it is kind of invasive a little bit. You're going to be talking about things, and you're going to be opening up about decisions you've made to get you to where you're at. How do you explain to someone it's not about judgment, and how do you get through that of like, hey, even though we weren't there exactly, but we were there, and we had all these other things that happened to us personally, but I'm just trying to fit in the person that, hey, look, I drive the Jag, I live in the house, I'm doing this to protect my marriage. If I change this, if I change my lifestyle, I could lose my marriage. What knowing that you may lose your marriage, it's really tough. It's really tough in those situations when you have a spender, then you have a person that's trying to keep up with the spender. I look at that, I'm like, wow, that guy's got an expensive wife. Oh gosh.
What I can say to that is, yeah, so if your marriage is based solely on the stuff that you have, that's to us not really a very strong marriage. That's not what marriage should be based on.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the stuff if you can do it and if it doesn't
Sure.
affect, long term.
Right.
But, one thing about, I know with us, everything is fully confidential. Your business would never be discussed with anybody else because we know from experience the shame and the guilt from not managing your finances properly, what
Sure.
that can do to somebody. So when you come to us and you describe where you're at and what emotions you're feeling, and it's that super vulnerable moment,
Yeah.
we've been there. Yes, we weren't falling apart at the seams, but we had our own issues behind closed doors that maybe people didn't know about. So we understand the emotions that are attached to having maybe not stewarded your money perfectly up until this point. But
Sure.
the point is, you're doing what you can now going forward because you can't look in the past.
Right.
You can start today towards your future. So what I would say to someone like that is working together with a coach and having that outside perspective will build up your marriage in so many different ways where the stuff isn't even going to matter that much anymore because
I love it.
the
I love
team
it,
building
yeah.
that goes on when a couple works together on their finances is just insane. I can't even describe when, where, what did it, but our marriage strengthened so much
Sure,
through the
yeah.
process. So the mutual respect we have for each other and everything that we do, we talk about communication.
Yeah, and he said, Chris said something last time is you can't keep your spouse in the dark. You can't, and there's, which I didn't think about and I didn't realize there may be animosity there between people that do that. I am guilty of that. Hey, look, it's me, I'm on the hook here, I need to get it done. I can't explain everything. You would have a heart attack.
There's a heavy weight
Yeah,
there.
it is a heavy weight,
And,
yeah.
and I couldn't have said it any better, and that's why she's my secret weapon in all
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
There is a humbling effect.
Yeah.
There really is. Even from a man's perspective, if you're the breadwinner, there is a heavy responsibility that society, yourself, whatever you want to say it, that the male breadwinner has, or whether it's the female, it's the person bringing in the major portion of the income, maybe the only portion of the income. And you said it, there's that sense of, I got this, or I'm supposed to get this. This is
Yeah.
supposed to be my thing.
Well, so let's before we go, like, let me think of how to say this or how to explain it. Is no matter where you're at, if you're not in line with where you want to be, if you're looking in the mirror and you're starting to see, oh wow, I'm pretty far off. I don't want to tell anybody. That's okay. But however, the thing is that if you start somewhere, right? And if you start somewhere and then you do, just imagine where you're going to be if you don't.
Right. You don't know where. With something like this, at least you have a direction to go.
Well, the thing I'm thinking of is if you got 6 years on a car note, you got 30 years on a mortgage, and you are 45 years old or 50 years old, how much time you got left?
Mm-hmm.
How much time do you have left? And so if you don't want to, and I look at it, I'm like, where am I going to be when I'm 70? Where am I going to be when I'm 60? How's it going to look? How am I going to do the things I want to do? There's talk about like these kids out there, they can't afford houses, and the companies are buying houses and driving up the prices.
And what is it, BlackRock?
Well, there's several of them, and we want to. That's one of the episodes we want to talk about this in the future. But if you don't get your finances under control,
that's the thing. It does. You know, you could not. Everything in the world can affect you outwardly.
Yeah.
But you need to work on this first, so that you build up the armor, so that doesn't affect you.
I love it. Yeah, because it's preparing, right? You know, because we've lived through COVID. You lived through layoffs. You lived through,
We are very versatile. Like, we're very versatile people. Like, not just, I'm not saying Corinne and I, I'm saying us as a nation. Like, there is a large majority of people that have gone through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And guess what? A majority of us came out okay on the other end. Now, were people affected more so than others? Absolutely. Are we living still with some of the effects of it? Absolutely. But again, why bother looking in the past? If you are affected by that, it doesn't matter where you are along the path. What matters is what you do now going forward. That's
Right.
what matters most. And you mentioned young people. We actually love working with younger couples because it's our opportunity to make sure they don't fall into the same traps.
Same mistakes.
Start building that armor. Start building those reserves. Start figuring out and building capital now and doing it the right way, so that you can go forward and have that financial security. Not only life insurance, but having financial security in order to push through any headwind that's there in front of you.
Man, I love you said that, because here's where it took me. It took me to the place of, what if you don't have that person that's done it, and everyone around you is in the same financial position, and so you don't really have anyone that you trust to talk to say, hey, look, you can do this, and here's how, and step by step. And it's not the same for everybody, right? And so the other point I'm trying to make is, like, there's so many times I'm like, man, if someone would have told me, I would not have done this. And if I would have started at a young age, there were so many things that I would have done different because of knowing what I know now, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and
They always say, what is that? Hindsight
yes,
is 20/20.
Yeah. And so my kid, my kids, they actually think that, I try to tell them when I tell them something, I wish someone would have told me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm telling you this, is because I wish someone would have told me.
And it's not, most of the time, even with our parents, right? You say, well, isn't that what parents are for? Well, yes, but the parents don't know what they don't know either.
No, exactly.
You don't know what you don't know.
Well, and you're, I hope this doesn't bother you, but you had a father that's a physician, very smart, very well-respected person, and something happened with his life insurance?
He didn't have, my father was not, he was the spender of the family.
Oh, okay.
Okay? He was the spender.
He was the worker and the spender.
Oh, yeah.
So he always worked. I know that.
He spent his fair share, and they didn't pay attention to life insurance as much as they should have.
Okay.
They did not. It was more of just like a final expense type of thing, and even that there was problems getting that paid out.
Okay.
So the amount that was there wasn't really enough to satisfy anything.
Wow.
Okay. There's still mortgages left on my mother. There's still a large amount there that's left on her, even after my dad's passing. Again, although my father was a physician, he didn't necessarily make a lot of money.
Sure.
His practice was successful in the sense that he ran it and he had patients and all that stuff. He put us through college, or helped put us through college. I have 4 of the siblings underneath me.
Yeah.
That was there. There was a basis there. So we were fine there.
Yeah, not to say he was a bad guy or anything like that. It's
No.
just that he was a fantastic person.
It just there weren't certain things in place, and he wasn't either aware of them, or he just thought it would be best to focus somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's it, right? That's all.
Well,
And it doesn't offend me. There's no offense there. My father, I openly talk about.
Well,
my
he's
dad
your
and those
hero. He's a
decisions.
hero, and not to discount
And if
that.
I can't talk openly about even my own father's like errors or maybe misunderstandings of things, how can I learn, right? I have to learn from someone's mistakes.
Well, you got estate planning and things. There's so many things that we've been burned on. Now, the thing that we want to leave people with is, if you don't get control of yourself, this world's going to eat you alive.
Absolutely.
This world is made to eat you alive.
The devil is there to distract you.
Yeah.
That's it. He is there. That is his main goal, is to distract you. And the more distractions he can throw at you, the better he's got you. And that's it. And that's why it's, divine stewardship. I mentioned this last time. We're given everything from God, right? And that includes money.
Right.
Okay? He allows us to receive certain gifts and talents, and then utilize those gifts and talents to receive, and he gives it all willingly and freely. But if you then go and take that and squander it and aren't doing your part to steward it, you're being distracted by the devil and doing certain things and going in different directions. It's gonna, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's never going to be a blessing on you. It could become a torment, really.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Do you feel the same way?
And I was thinking of something that our pastor said. I think it was this past service, about like, when you are the smartest person in the room, find a new room. Don't always be the smartest one. Don't always be the one that knows it all. Be the one that learns it all.
Be a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all.
Be around people.
That's
Be a
awesome.
learn-it-all,
That's a
not
good
and
thought.
be
That's
around
good.
people who can help you, who can mentor you, instead of having to rely on just yourself and what you know. Surround yourself with people that you want to be more like. If they're better financially, put yourself around people better financially. With us growing this business, we want to be with people who have successful businesses, who have done this and who know what to do. And it goes for anything, finances especially, I feel like.
Yeah, I love that. And, the thing too is that you're scripture based, okay? You're Bible based. The divine stewardship. We talked about before the talents. And so that's who you are as a couple, as a unit, as a business, of bringing in those values, that culture aspect, of Christianity, of living through different levels of Christianity, from Catholicism now to
Non-denominational.
And anyway, the point of it is no matter where you're at, and if you a coach will definitely, I can see this, a coach will be the mediator between you and the spouse. In a financial world, like, hey, look, here is what I would advise you guys to do, and so they could both get, if the wife's the spender or the husband's the spender, that it can go both ways. You just talked about it, right? And poor planning, and it's not even about getting rich. It's about, what are things you don't think about? Are you underinsured? Those kind of things. How's your estate plan? What's really going to happen? after you die.
Some people don't even look as far as retirement. So I mean,
Yeah.
I have a short that's coming out soon that goes and show the majority of 25 to 45-year-olds spend more time planning on a vacation than they do on actual retirement.
Right? Yeah, that's so far off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so far
exactly.
off.
And again, we're that's like our prime age group there, 25 to 45.
Well, and I love that because you really need the help, and I mean people need the help, and there's not a lot of good advice out there, and there's a lot of
There's a lot of quick, rich schemes and quick, rich ideas. Sometimes they work. Most of the time they don't. I like to be very methodical. I like to be very principled. That's the approach I take.
Well, how many times? So I know you guys got to go, but how many times have we seen people get great wealth, and they're broke?
Look at the millionaires. I mean, hun, right? We actually there
And
used
or
to there
have
used to be a
miserable
program.
lives.
There used to,
Yeah.
I think there was a TV program, right, on how millionaires
Like
squander.
people who won the lottery and where
Right.
they're at today.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
lottery.
like-
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
And how they've become broke.
And that's another thing I wanted to bring up is that like we know we can help anybody.
Right.
We know you bring your problems to us, we will come up with the solutions. We will help you through. If we can't, we'd be very upfront
No matter
about
if you're
it.
making $1 million a year or
Exactly.
$10 a year.
But
Yeah.
you also have to be willing to put in the work
That's
and to be
the big thing.
consistent and to be diligent. Small things over a long period of time. This isn't a quick fix overnight thing. How long did it take you to get into the position that you're in now? Give us some time to get you out of it because we know we can. That's not the issue. It's are you willing to do it?
Awesome. Yeah, because you guys day in and day out for how many years?
Many now. Yeah. I mean,
Is it 8
Cameron
years?
is now 8.
Yeah.
So when she was an infant. And this is when we started everything.
Yeah, so it's been about 8 years of day in and day out decision making to get to where you're at now.
But also look at it this way. People will say, wow, that's 8 years. That's such a long time. Yeah, but we're now completely debt free in only 8 years.
Right.
And you're looking at close to $1 million because of the house plus that
Yes.
maybe over definitely close to 600,000-700,000 that we were completely in debt, let's say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And only 8 years now we are completely debt free.
Well, if you look at it like that too, is like, hey, look, we're
So it's
D-
two
you-
different
you-
ways
you-
of looking
you're-
at the
you're-
same thing.
with all the house and the items and everything, you're easily at $1 million. You're worth $1 million at least.
Oh no, yeah. So
Yeah, and
our value, our worth is well over $1 million, and even that, like you said, estate planning. We now have a trust.
Yeah.
We have things in place for protection, more protection than even just life insurance.
Yeah.
Our goal now, at least in our stage, is now legacy building.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something that I want to bring more to even the audience. Right. Imagine that someone asked me this. He goes, "What is your ultimate goal with like having or building a legacy? What does a legacy mean to you?" And me being, maybe a little pretentious, I said, "You know what I want? I want my great grandkids to have a portrait of me and my wife
Yeah.
on over a fireplace mantle, okay? And I want my great grandkids to say, who is that?
Yeah.
And then them saying, well, that's great grandfather Chris, and he was the one that started everything for us.
Yeah.
He started our
love that.
generational wealth.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's what I see. And there is no reason, absolutely no reason why anyone can't have that same exact dream and it start to accomplish it, because everything is available to us. You just need to know certain path. You need a path that's right for you. You need a path that is right for your family. You need certain principles and habits to be instilled. It's available. Yeah. There is not a reason why anyone can't do it. Can you reach that right away? No, it's my great grandkids, all right? But we got to start somewhere. Why shouldn't it be you? Why shouldn't it be now?
Well, the other thing is what that I know we're ending that lottery thing. If you won the money, if you got all this money, if you sold an item, you become an NBA star or NFL star. how are you going to keep that wealth, and how are you going to grow the wealth? You can't outrun bad habits.
What does money do? What does money do to us? We talked about it in one of our podcasts. What does money actually do to the person?
It just accentuates what already is there.
That's it.
So when you have a little money or you have a lot of money, your value is exactly the same.
We have to attack that. That's what we need to attack. It's the underlying, what is it that you do with it? Money isn't the problem.
Yeah.
Money is not the issue. We talk about it in our Biblical Money Myths podcast.
I love that.
Where
That's a good title, right?
That's
Money's
our
not the-
it's our
money's
it's
not
our
the issue.
podcast title for that one is our Biblical Money Myths. And one of them, the very first one, is people will say, Christians will even say, money is the root of all evil. And that's completely wrong.
Right.
They're not reading the scripture passage right, if they're even reading it at all.
Right.
The scripture says, for the love of money is the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
The love of money. It isn't the money. Money is just a piece of paper. It's just a coin.
Right.
We give it value. It's the love of it. I love this.
Right.
Because now if you love this, you can't love God.
Right.
Right? Or you're putting this over God. You can't, we said, you can't have two masters. You cannot serve two masters.
Right.
So that's what we need to change.
Mm-hmm.
We got to change that. Because it doesn't matter whether you have very little or whether you have a large amount. You're going to squander it.
Well, I love it too, is because if you can establish these habits, that when you get wealth, you won't lose it. You'll be able to grow it, and you'll have good habits.
It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Josh, it happens to everyone. Look at the Vanderbilts.
Yep.
Vanderbilts don't have money. They had to sell significant portions. If they do, it's very minimal to what
Right.
they had, their empire. But look
Right.
at the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
the
different.
Rockefellers right there, they've still got family money.
Yeah.
So it again, two very wealthy individuals that built dynasties. One is now squandered. The other one is still there.
Given your personality, I would imagine that you've studied the Rockefellers.
I've definitely looked at both.
A
Let's
little
make
bit.
sure. I wanted to make sure that I knew what to do, or a path on what to do, and then a path on what not to do.
Well, how
Right.
nice is it if you you want to do something and all of a sudden there are principles and guidelines to use? Well, isn't that what we have? The financial principles in the Bible? God created us.
Right?
God knows how we function best. He has laid out principles and things to help you be prosperous and be successful. And why not use it?
Yeah, great point, because there's another saying, like, if you apply the principles of the Bible, I haven't never seen it make someone's life worse.
Exactly. Never
They're
can you
always-
apply all the principles in the Bible and your life gets worse. It can't happen.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. So remind us where they find you.
Sure. So divinestewardship.com is our website.
Okay.
You can find us at Divine Stewardship on just about every platform.
Okay.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube,
Yeah.
And Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
we're
forgot about
gonna
Facebook.
be on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
our podcast is on YouTube on our video section. If you like audio,
Okay.
we're on Spotify and Apple.
Okay.
Apple Podcasts.
Amazing. All right.
So
Fantastic.
we're doing, as of right now, we are scheduled for 2 podcasts episodes a week.
Okay.
Throwing videos and reels and videos out like that daily. So we're pumping things at least 5 or 6 times a week. So
Well, the real thing too is that you guys have devoted your lives to this calling.
yeah,
We talked about it before. It's a calling, and let them help you. Let's talk about it. Let's start the dialogue of what are your options.
yeah.
What are your options? And
That's what they need to know. You
Yeah.
have other options. There is more. There is a hope for you. For you. What you need is first clarity. That's it. You need to
Yeah.
see where you're aligned. What do you value most? What are your beliefs? And are you aligned with that? And if you're not, that's where we need to start.
beautiful. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
you
you.
for having
Thanks
us.
again.
Awesome.